Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. I'm here, as always, with my co-host,
Fanta Sesay.
Fanta Sesay. And oh my God, we're talking about, what is it, episode 4 already of
Yeah,
our
so fast.
Say again?
It's going by so fast.
I know. But yeah, episode 4 of the challenge, Total Madness, season, I guess, 35. Man,
Yeah.
that's a lot of seasons.
It is when you think about it that way, but I just like scoop them all out.
Like, I'm kind of thinking, like, maybe I want to go back and start watching them all. Like, all of them. Like, starting from, like, Real World Road Rules, like, the challenge. So I was watching this, like, countdown of, like, I think it was TJ coming on. Like, just, like, all the hosts of the challenges, I think. And it just was, like, back in the old days before TJ was even on it. It just looked so old school. It was 90s and, like, or early 2000s. Like, it was a time, and I'm like, oh, I remember you.
It is a trip watching the old ones. I was watching, which one was I watching? I was watching the one that they like were in Vancouver or Whistler. I think maybe it was like a fresh meet, like it was like Cara's debut. And I was like, that one was really old. And it was like when Wes was like really, really, really an asshole.
When he's dating, what's her name, Johanna, is that her name?
Oh, I can't remember.
Maybe it was probably before that, actually.
I can't remember. But yeah, it was when like all the guys were like really, really, really misogynist and they were like getting away with it.
We're still there, like Kenny and Evan.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I don't know. I had to go back and watch some good ones because I'm like, I miss the old spirit. Because, like, Darrell days and like Mark days and just all the old school people that like would win the challenge for $40,000 and they'd be like,
oh my God, exactly. $40,000. And like now these guys like don't even get out of bed. Like that is like their appearance fee.
exactly, to show up on the show for the whole season or have as many episodes as they're on. They're like, I'm not showing up for less than 40 grand. Do you think that's how much Nani gets? 40 grand, or do you think more?
Really? You think more?
I
don't really feel like Nani has like a high bounty on her head. Like obviously Bananas like gets like 60 to 70K just to show up.
I feel like he gets more.
You think so?
I feel like he gets like 100.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because he really has, it seems like he has a lot of agency in like how the show goes down, or control, or whatever word I'm trying to use, in how the show like is maneuvered. Like, I'm sure the whole him and Wes thing is like calculated by him and Wes being like, okay, we'll come back on. This will be our story arc. Like, we'll do this for $100,000. We will make amends, and then we'll go against each other.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I feel like they're getting more than 60 grand for him to keep coming back.
The Bananas specifically, right. Yeah.
Wes probably gets high, but less than Bananas, I think.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I think Bananas like far exceeds everybody except for Bear's weird contract.
What was that? Like, I don't remember.
Because I think MTV like they secured Bear for like
for seasons. And how much is it for $1 million?
I think like a couple million. Like,
where did I hear that? I heard that together. I heard that too.
I remember reading it somewhere, and people, because everyone, like, I remember everyone was like, what, like, why is Bear here? And like all this stuff, and people were like MTV like paid him.
Oh, maybe
like,
we talked about it last week.
Yeah, we did.
Okay. I was like, I feel like I know this already. Yeah, that's kind of insane. I mean, he's, as we learned this week, he brings the drama. He brings the drama, and whether you like it or not, he is going to deliver. So, let's get the elephant in the room. Let's just start talking about what happened at the end of last week when the unthinkable came to manifestation. CT, the warrior, has been taken out by the underdog and his ultimate fan, or the fan of CT, Jay. Wow. So how are you feeling after, 1 week of being able to get over the fact that CT was taken out by Jay?
I feel like there's part of me that feels like I'm sad because I just love CT so much. I love him so much, but also at the same time, I'm like, the challenge is like looking good on Jay. Like, I think he's like doing a great job, and it's like really fun to watch up and coming people like really kill it. That's a really like fun part of the challenge. And it also lights fire under CT's ass to be like, hey man, you're not like, you can't keep referencing that elimination, like with you using bananas as a backpack anymore. Like you have to really bring it
Yeah,
again.
it was like 10 years ago, like new decade, new epic move, CT. And I think like with TJ changing up like the format here, it's like, oh, I can't do my usual like coast till the end and win thing. Like, and now I have to like come in and perform. So, I mean, he was walking off like an old man, and he was saying like he's going to go and get into shape. And I kind of believe that he might, because like this is a pretty easy gig. Like, hey, I'm gonna go. Usually it's in like a nice tropical place, but go to like some tropical place, hang out with some like of my friends that I've met for the last 15, 20 years, and like win, well, at least take home a paycheck of like $100,000 or so, like for being there for that long, and maybe have a chance at $1 million. So if he wants to get closer to the money, I think he's going to put in the work and get a little bit more shredded. Like he'll be doing, like, calling Darrell and doing Darrell workouts or something.
Yeah, I think so.
So we start off hearing like Melissa even talking about how like, CT is taken out by his biggest fan. And then Jordan also saying that Jay's win is like a big upset. And I think that there was like a shockwave that went over the house, because like it seemed just from the beginning how they were telling the story that like everybody was like, oh my God, if it could happen to CT, it could happen to me. And I feel like everybody was feeling that their life in the game was like more precious.
Yeah, which I love. Like I could feel that when they were all rattled, like walking back to the bunker, and I love that because everybody had this air of like, okay, well, this is who I'm gonna go against. Like, no problem. I'm just gonna throw myself in, no problem. And you could just see everyone was like,
he won
for CT.
Yeah, and now he's gone.
And now he's gone. And then you see with Jay, like, I'm not scared of anything. I'll go back down there. I don't care.
Well, at this point, yeah, he doesn't really know, like, he doesn't know the value of being there because it's his first season. So, like, he's only now experienced always going in. So he's not afraid of going in.
Yeah.
Really interesting. Like, he doesn't have that mentality. It's kind of like, well, that's all he knows of the challenge so far. So it's actually going to make him most likely win more often, because he doesn't know what it's like to lose in the purgatory. So that's also exactly. Really interesting. The more that he wins, the more confidence he's going to gain.
Yeah, I love that. I love when they get a taste for blood, because then they're so much more fun to watch. Lest we forget.
Start fearing them more, which is like, mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know if people are. I think he's still going to be thrown in over and over and over again, but he's not afraid to go in like everybody else is afraid to go in now.
Yeah, but maybe the guys might change their strategy and go, hey, maybe let's not throw in Jay, like, because maybe they'll say, oh, well, you know what, like Nelson hasn't really been showing up. Let's try Nelson. But I think people are going to be, I don't know. But I have a feeling that the guys are kind of going to want to change the strategy instead of just continually throwing Jay in.
Kyle says something like he gives like a fist bump to Jay being like, join the We Beat CT club. But I don't remember actually when Kyle beat CT. Do you remember what challenge it was or?
I think that it was, I could be totally wrong, but I think it was that one a couple of seasons ago where it was was it the 3-person one with the ring? But that wasn't Kyle, was it? Was it?
I guess so. I mean, it must have
That's
been.
the only other one that I remember CT losing.
Who was the third person in that?
It was a tanned gentleman. It's escaping me right now.
Oh yeah, I don't remember. I think though you're right though. It was that I kind of can envision like ring pulling and Kyle like or something,
Yeah,
something like that.
I remember it in like 10 minutes.
So pretty early on in the episode, you see Ashley talking to Maddie, and you know they're both kind of being shocked about CT and seemingly having some sort of like a friendship brewing and developing. And in my head, I was like, is Maddie going to get sucked into Ashley? Like Ashley, in my opinion, is somebody, she's such a loose cannon to me that like, I could never take her seriously. Like I just wouldn't never trust her. I don't think I could. Like, could you?
No, I mean, Ashley would be the type of person, and like Maddie said, like keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. Like I'd be like super friendly with her, but I would, when it comes down to it, I would never trust Ashley ever.
It seems like she's always causing some sort of drama or problem. Like I've never seen Ashley. I know that they're in the house and they're only going to show the drama. So there's tons of downtown that we're not seeing. So we could actually maybe like Ashley and see her personality and like want to hang out with her. But from what I see and what's edited on the show, I'm just kind of like, she doesn't really have any qualities about her other than her hair is really nice right now and her makeup's gotten a lot better, that like there's nothing that I really care to talk to her about, you know. And like Maddie, like if I'm looking at her through the same lens, like Maddie looks like she like has some stories, like, you know, I want to know more about Maddie. I don't know if it's just because she's newer to the series or not, but like when I was just looking at the two of them together, I was like, yeah, Ashley, I'm not into you. Maddie, I'm curious.
Yeah. I feel like Ashley's that type of person that like is kind of like on the outskirts of your friend group, and like it's cool to have them around, like invite them out and stuff. But then when they like start drinking, then they start to get like really hectic and like mouthy and pop off, and everyone is just like, oh, like invite them out again.
Fair. I can totally see that too. They're kind of changing though how they can have like a good partnership, and that like that Ashley would be the puzzles and Maddie would be the muscle. And so I was like, well, you know what though, if that were to work out, like that could be a pretty good and pretty strong duo. But this the way that the challenges are all completely different. Like I just don't know how they can really work as a team together, where they don't know if they're even going to be on a team solo or what, but maybe they're talking about the final. I don't know.
Yeah, the logistics of that kind of escaped me, and I was kind of just like, okay, sure.
Yeah. True. Yeah, that makes sense. So Tori though, this season I feel like Tori, something's changed in Corey. I don't know if it's because she's engaged now or that she lost that final by like the puzzle when she like if it hadn't been for her being the turncoat, she would never that group would never even have had a chance to get there, and she missed it by such like seconds or minutes. But she's like pumping up Jay about being like one of the very few that beats CT. And I don't know, I just felt that she was being disingenuous. Like I don't feel the Tori that I know and love. Like there's just something different. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think her social game this season is really weirding me out. Like I feel like it's she's kind of lost all of her badassery and her confidence, and I find that this season she's also just like a lot more loose-lipped about like just kind of talking to everybody, and she's not really like calculating her conversations, which I feel is gonna bite her at some point. I could be wrong, but I don't know. I just, anytime like she starts a conversation with somebody, it kind of makes me cringe a little bit. I'm like, oh, like,
Jay, I was like, I don't know, Tori.
yeah,
I don't know
it's
what it
really
is.
weird. Like last season, she was like very like pointed and like very calculated about like who she was talking to and like what she was talking about. And the season, it just kind of like everything is like all on the wall, like her performance and everything. Like, it's just kind of lackluster.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's because like for that particular conversation, maybe it's like I couldn't see her strategy or why she was like pumping him up, and it didn't seem just because she really liked him. So maybe that's what's weirding me out in that particular conversation. But I just was like, I don't really know why you're acting so pumped up with Jay right here, because you're not giving off that you want to be his friend. You're not giving off that you want to work with him. You're not giving off like, you know, you want to prevent him from throwing in Jordan when he wins something. Like, I don't know, like I just didn't see her motive, and it didn't seem like just to be nice. I don't know, it was weird.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
That's where actually I wrote, like, do you think that they'll keep on sending Jay in? And just to top up on what you were saying, I think that they will, because of the fact that he's not afraid to go in. He's going to keep on going in and defending that spot, because they don't want, like, two of them don't want to have to go and face their fear. Like, they only one person at a time is willing to like face their fear, I feel, in this game right now. And so I think that, you know, that spot for Jay is going to help that a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I guess unless he wins.
Now, what I find is really interesting though about like how it's all structured today, this season, is that, you know, they want to go in to get the skull, but they don't want to get nominated to go in. I'm just like, what? I don't understand.
Oh my God, I know. It's so funny because it's like people are just like especially when, I mean, we'll talk about that, but like especially when people like go into the like the tribunal and they're like, well, like, you know, like I'm trying to go in, but like, I mean, I'm not quite ready. Like mentally, I'm like, I'm not quite ready yet. And it's like, well, when are you going to be mentally ready? Because at some point, like you can't just wait until the very end. There's not going to be any spots left.
Yeah. And
so like, but yeah, it's yeah, that's so true. Everyone just kind of is like, okay, like, and I mean, I think it definitely is attributed to the fact like CT went home and like that is like really getting everyone shook. But like, I'm like, just go in.
And I wouldn't be surprised also, especially with the veterans, is like they know that the longer that they stay in the game, the more money that they're making as well. So, and the more airtime for their brand and their endorsements and their followers. So like, you know, I think that's also playing in. Like CT going out week 3 is like, ooh, like he probably lost like 40 grand, like, you know, or whatever, like for going out. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's something that's a pressure on their strategy is for when they want to go in.
Yeah. It's fun. It is funny though. You see like literally 70% of the house like hiding in the shadows.
What did you think of Rogan, like on the treadmill, like saying that he got some advice from CT, and you know that he has to like, you know, not cause any trouble, and
but keep everyone sweet, but be ready to take them out. I just like I thought it was such a like weird pivot from last week, because like his confessionals last week are like, yeah, I'm gonna be the one to take Jay out. And I think it was like him being like, oh shit, like, ooh, maybe it's not that easy to take Jay out.
Yeah, no, I thought it was just like,
Especially I haven't done an elimination before.
Exactly. Like CT, who is the, what did he call him? The beast of the challenge, the ultimate vet. I was like, now you're like, well, maybe I'm just gonna be nice to everybody and not go in.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like,
oh my gosh, such a funny pivot. I was like, I see you. Okay.
yeah, sure, Rogan. Now you're Mr. Nice Guy now. Like, please. Oh, poor Kayla though. Like Kayla, the attention that she's getting from Bear, I know she loves it. Loves it, loves it, loves it. And like, it's quite grade school, the type of flirting or whatever it is that Bear is doing. And it would become slightly endearing, I guess, a little bit. But how do you feel about their budding thing?
Budding, interesting use of words. I mean, that's Bear's MO. Like, what one thing that I like said to myself, like watching this episode, I was like, the original Bear's back. Like, especially like after like last season, everyone's like, okay, like Bear's fine. But I was like, okay, he's back. I mean,
Be fancy.
it was it's I don't know. I don't really know, like I don't really know what to say. Like, it just, the whole thing just makes me like cringe because I know where it's going. I think we all know where it's going, and we just don't want it to go there. That's just not something we want to watch. It's going to be a train wreck
I know.
for everybody involved.
Bear doesn't give any Fs. Any Fs at all. He loves making people go mental.
Oh, yeah, because he's the one that's going to like crawl out of the car wreck without a single scratch on him.
So
Every season.
Yeah.
Shall we talk about it?
Of course.
Shall we talk about this incident?
Well, yeah, let's get to it for sure. Well, you know, so Bear is like trying to flirt with Kayla, and Kayla's like, I would never date you. And, you know, Bear decides that he wants to show his affection for Kayla, like impress Kayla with his bareness by grabbing a fire extinguisher and unloading the fire extinguisher a lot into a room full of women. I didn't see any guys in there. As a joke? Was it a joke?
Like, I guess, like, yeah, I mean, like, a joke to get her attention, to get attention in general.
Just anyways, and that was the catalyst of a nice Ashley pop off. Starts with Ashley popping off, getting super pissed, and like, I would be fucking pissed. Oh, sorry, I don't know if I can swear on this, but I'd be pissed too, you know, like but I don't think that I would come at it like that. Like with Bear, you can't give him that energy, or he just thrives. Like, he just wants that reaction. So you have to laugh with him and make it not look like it bothered you, and just not pay attention to him. Like, his poor parents, like, I wonder what his mom must have done with him when he was like terrible twos. Like, he must have been, whoo.
Oh my gosh. I hope he's sending them money.
His parents? I mean, I've seen his parents. I can't remember now, but he was on a dating show, Celebrity Dating UK or something like that. And I feel like they came to his parents' house. And it's kind of like, you know, like how Tom Green just like tortures his parents. Like, oh, yeah. I feel like it's kind of like that kind of relationship. It's like, oh, Bear, love ya.
Of course.
So Ashley spits out some of the whatever residue of this fire extinguisher into the general vicinity of Bear. Like, they didn't show it. I didn't see it. Did you see it? I didn't see the spit, but she claims that it was claimed that she spat on Bear. Now, how do you feel? Like, we didn't see it, so we don't really know what happens, but how do you feel about that as a reaction?
I mean, spitting just really sticks me out. Like, I just don't think that is an appropriate reaction, like, ever. So I get, you know, I think I tried to put myself in that position. I was like, yeah, like, if you were in mid conversation and then somebody like sprays a fire extinguisher in your mouth, you'd be pretty pissed. But yeah, the spitting, like, I was like, just get him back in some kind of way. But like, just, the spitting is gross.
Yeah.
I'm
And
not
like, and
about
you're
that.
indoors as well. Like if you were at your own home and say that fire extinguisher explodes, you wouldn't be spitting in your home. You'd like run to the washroom and rinse your mouth out or whatever. You know what I mean? So the fact that she spat on him, I feel was intentional, and she was making it seem as though she was doing it because it went in her mouth. I understand that she would never have done it if he hadn't have, released the fire extinguisher in that room, but there was just other ways to approach it. Now, how did you feel about Maddie coming in guns blazing and just straight for Ashley's jugular?
That was so weird. And the only thing that I could think of was like, oh, Maddie just like hasn't had enough airtime really.
And I think it
So
seemed like they were drinking. She seemed a little saucy.
lost, yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I thought that was like very out of left field. And I guess like her like she was like, well, where I'm from, like if you spit, da 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 all that stuff. But I was like, she didn't spit on you. Like I was like, why is this all of a sudden, why do you have skin in this fight? It was bizarre.
Is her and Bear like a team? Like, I mean, she
I
probably knows Bear more than she knows Maddie because Bear was on her first season too. So maybe they bonded then. You're like, I have no idea. Well, I didn't
I
think
don't know. I was just like, what's going on here? Why is Maddie yelling?
no, exactly. I didn't think it was a good look for Maddie at all. I was like, "Whoa." Let Ashley blow up on her own. She's fine. She's
Yeah.
fine. But then they were talking. It was who was it? Big T. She had a little confessional saying that she doesn't want to be friends with Ashley anymore. And wait, it was Big T, Jenny, and somebody else was telling Jenny about what happened, and one of them was saying like, oh yeah, like it was actually kind of funny, but then like Ashley like went insane and like popped off.
Tori was like, yeah, Tori and Kayla, like Kayla was like
Oh,
whatever, like
right.
it was whatever, but okay, that's what he does, like let's move on. And then Tori was like, yeah, like it was actually kind of funny. And that's what I thought. I was like, I thought that was funny that like there were people who were like what, whatever, who cares?
Right, exactly. I mean, it's annoying, but there's absolutely nothing to do in that house. So like, I'd just be like, "You're such a fucking asshole," and he'd be like, "Ha ha ha," ha," and you just
And
go
then like dump like water on him while he sleeps, or like pick him
exactly,
up and dump him in the hot tub in the middle of the night.
exactly. I mean, I probably wouldn't retaliate, but personally, but if I was in that house, I don't know if I'd be going crazy like they all seem to be. But then, in old typical Nani fashion, she comes in and just like has to have the bouncer between them as she goes off on Maddie. And like, uh, I was surprised that she went off on Maddie and not on, because she doesn't like Ashley either. So I was just surprised that like she was like,
Yeah, that was also very interesting. That was also very interesting. Um, yeah, I don't know. There was some like there was intentions in this episode where it was like, huh, that's weird. Huh, that's interesting.
and then we see a scene right after of like Ashley crying to Jenny about chemicals in their mouth. And I'm just like, Jenny is seems to be Ashley's little confidant and little like therapist, but like Jenny doesn't care about Ashley at all. So it's just in that moment I was like, I know that Jenny doesn't care for Ashley, and I felt like I felt bad for her. I was like, oh, she really is alone here. And as much as like I didn't like how she reacted to the bear thing, like I think part of it is also because she feels like she is on everybody is attacking her, and like she probably felt that bear did that to her, you know what I mean, as opposed to like doing it to everybody that was there, you know what I mean, like I feel like Ashley
For sure. I think things were just like stacking up for Ashley, and like if you're in a bunker and you don't have like any friends and like Johnny's running around talking about how you're a snake,
And you are a snake, you're just kind of like,
You are a literal snake.
yeah. Yeah, she sucks. I mean, I felt bad for her though. So we get to the challenge. I don't know, there's no real resolve other than like bouncers keeping people apart, but no resolve. But we get to the next jump cut to TJ being like, this is gonna suck. You never want TJ to say that, because like if he says that, it's actually gonna suck. Cold War is the name of this challenge, and it looked like it sucked.
Oh, I was trying to figure out, okay, so the starting temperature that I saw, it was like 69 degrees Fahrenheit. But I did the conversion and it was like, that's like 15 or 16 degrees Celsius.
That's very cold though. Think about like if you turn your shower to 15 degrees, you'd be like, yeah. Like when you go to a cold pool, it's like 70 degrees.
Okay. I'm gonna check it out, Chantele.
Cold, like
right now.
Like, okay, so when I'm at my house temperature is usually about 75. But think when it's like 60, 68, it's like, oh, it's a little chilly in here. Let me put on a sweater.
Okay, so continue. I just want to go continue. I want to see like who was the first team that went in again?
It looks well. They was very confusing. I didn't figure out how they were presenting the teams until like the very last team. I'm like, oh, I get it now. Because they had stuff highlighted and the others, I'm like, okay, so those are the ice people. So that means that's their team. No, I'm like, no, that's their team. But
that's the other team
that's playing with them in this round, but it's not their team. Anyways, I was just a little bit confused. So I could be wrong with this whole setup, but we'll get the gist of it because we know who wins in the end. So the teams of 5, there's going to be 3 divers and 2 breakers per team, and that's going to be kind of shuffled around. Okay, so they had some ice cold water. There's puzzle pieces that need to be unchained, and then 2 icebreakers from another team is going to be chiseling ice into the water where they're swimming. The 3 other people are swimming in to find these puzzle pieces. Okay, so that's the challenge. The winner of the team of 5 that wins is going to be the tribunal. So there's going to be 5 people in the tribunal. So that's actually pretty good odds, and I'd be fighting for that because I'd be like, that's, if I was a woman, if it was a women's day, to have 5 people that, would be working for me. I think I'd be happy about that instead of being one-on-one and only like 2 or 3 people. Anyways, so the first team. Okay, the icebreakers were Nani and Ashley, and then Fessy, Josh, and Rogan. So that's the whole team. And so Fessy, Josh, and Rogan were having Jordan and Swaggy chisel ice, I think is how it went. And so Ashley was like, didn't think that the boys were actually smart enough to be able to figure it out, but she was the icebreaker in another round, like with another team. So she couldn't really help the team out. She couldn't help them with the puzzle. And I thought that the visuals that Johnny was kind of painting of these 3 guys, so I'll just remind you guys, it was Fessy, Josh, and Rogan, all shirtless, basically shivering and trying to do a puzzle. And it's just like freezing cold Chippendale, like
the worst Chippendales show I've ever been to.
Yeah, I thought it was really funny because I was just like, they just look dumb. They look.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I felt so bad because everyone was like, even D, like, oh, a bunch of dum-dums. Like, everyone was like calling them dumb. I was like, oh.
But they just looked like
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's probably because they're shivering and they're half naked and they're not actually caring about like their body. What you know what I mean? I don't know. It's like too much. I can't look. So yeah, it's like the Bananas was like, yeah, they're testosterone, but then they're also struggling to stay warm. Is like the awkward Chippendales look. It's like really funny. So Tori's group is now going to go, and she tells Melissa and Maddie not to chip ice on their go, so they didn't make the water cold for their team, like her, which is well, they were in the same team. So I thought that was a pretty smart strategy to not put any more ice in there. Do you think it was that effective? Like the water did go down in temperature. I think it was like in the 50s at one point, which is like, that's cold.
I mean, I don't know. I just feel like the water's going to be freezing anyway. And like, so, I mean, like the ice was dropped it down. So it went down from like about 69 to what, 50, 55 or so.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I guess like maybe at the end of the day, is that like really gonna, I don't know. I didn't really feel like that was like I think it's smart, but I think like if you haven't been in the water anyway, like you're just not really gonna notice the difference.
Well,
like it's
I mean,
gonna
I
be cold.
guess like just because maybe because there's more girls going in, like just like let's not make it that cold because women are gonna get cold more quickly than the guys will. And so I guess because she was gonna be swimming, she's like, please don't put any additional ice in there. Like it's already gonna be cold. Yeah. I guess I thought it was a good strategy. I was trying to look because I went to. Have you ever been to Canada's Wonderland?
Oh yeah, like when I was 7 or something.
Like, because I'm from Toronto, like I love.
when I lived in Nepean, Ontario, Canada's Wonderland.
Well, I had a season's pass for pretty much my entire life. Anyways, point being, like I was probably 13 or so. I went to Canada's Wonderland. I went to Splashworks, and it was 19 degrees outside, and it was cold. So I just want to do the conversion. So 19 degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit is 66. And I was like, and that's 19. Okay. So
I don't mean to one-up you, but I did do the polar bear swim this year.
Oh, well, you're living in Vancouver. You're like one of those weirdos. Like, get out of here. One-up me. Go tell me how amazing that was, invigorating on January 1st. With all these other idiots. No, just kidding.
I don't know that it was like invigorating. Like it was like fine, but like some of my friends were like, oh, like let's do it again. And I was like, you guys are out of your minds. And I slept for the rest of the day. It really took it all out of me.
Well, I've never done the polar bear dip thing, but I have been on to a retreat before where there was like springs where you go into like do a cold bath and then you go into a hot bath and go cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, hot times. And I can do the whole mind over whatever to like put myself under and put my head under, like I can do it, but like I don't ever want to do it again after I'm done. You know, I'm just like, I did it, but I don't want to do it again. Anyway, so I can understand if Tori has been in cold water not to want it to be colder. Like,
yeah,
I mean,
I'll give it, but
you might want to roll around in snow, but I don't. At all. What happened? What am I talking about? So the next teams were Nelson, Kayla, and Dee. And now this was interesting because like there's 2 women that were in there, and I don't know if Nelson just allowed his mind to take over and allowed him to make himself feel more cold, because you do have a little bit of mind control of like not allowing yourself to go into shock at least that quickly. But like he seemed to like just get cold super fast. Like he was actually taken out in an ambulance. And like, how do you feel then about the standard of the challenges that are so dangerous that people are going to have to be taken out in an ambulance? Like it's a little bit extreme.
How do I feel about that? I mean, like, that's the challenge. Like, that's what makes it, like, so fun to watch. Because think about, like, a couple of seasons ago when there was one final that they did that they were like, this was, like, designed by Navy SEALs. Like, that's part of the appeal of it. Yeah. But also the thing that really bothered me about their turn, yes, I agree. I'm like, Nelson, like, didn't even try.
Yeah, exactly.
And, like, you didn't even, like, and, like, all of them were just, like, sitting there, like, or in the water, like, just shivering. And I was like, well, make a decision. Like, do it or get out. But they were just like, they're like going like, oh my God, it's so cold. I'm like, but if you get some movement, you have to keep going because like everybody else is doing this.
Well, and like if you stay, like you have to keep moving to keep like warmth moving, or else you're going to allow it to get cold. Like you have to keep that body going. So Michelle, she sent me a message. She wanted to mention, she's like, well, I would like to say that the challenge, although kind of unsafe, which was like the OG days, which she loved, and not to be a spoiler here, but she loved that Anissa and her team ended up taking the win. She loved that. So I totally agree with this too. Like, so who was her group? Her group was her in the water.
Bananas, Anissa.
Bananas and who?
Bear.
And Bear. And I like Bear, he competes. He shows up, he competes. And they went in, they were fast, and Johnny had a really good strategy with like, hey, let's undo these pieces before we're freezing cold. Let's do that fast, find them, undo them, and then take them out of the water. And I was like, well, how is he so smart? Like, why didn't anybody else figure out like, hey, let's do the hard stuff when we're not cold?
Well, it's funny that you say that because I was like, when was the last time the Bananas has gone first? Like, I was like, wait a second. Like, I don't know, maybe he's got like a little deal with the producers, like, make sure I don't go first. But I was like, when was the last time he went first? He has like all that, because I mean, obviously Bananas is smart, but they have like all that time to be like, wait a second, like, what's a better way to do that?
This is what other podcasters call putting on your tinfoil hat. Okay. I mean, this is something. Maybe he does have some sort of thing in a deal with the producers that, hey, like, I want to be able to do well for sure. Like, when I can, I want to be in a later group so I can see the strategy of it and perform better.
Yeah, because I can't remember the last time that he's gone first for a challenge.
Well, okay, in this particular season, when were the opportunities? Like they did the puzzle thing last week, so that was everybody at the same time. What was the challenge the week before?
The helicopter.
He didn't make it to the second stage, so it didn't matter. And then the first one was the rolling over the barrels.
Yeah. Well, let's keep an eye on it.
Yeah, I thought that was let's watch out for that. Interesting.
Also, like, but past seasons as well. Like he doesn't go first very often, if almost at all. So that's something to watch out for.
I might, if I have time, I might see if I can do some past show investigations. Maybe like 1 or 2 seasons.
Yeah.
See if there's a pattern there. And within the pattern, if he does go first, if he does well as he usually does.
Yeah.
I love that. So they come out, they get the puzzles out, and like Johnny's not good at puzzles, so he allows kind of Anissa to take the reins of the puzzle portion of this thing. And I was worried that was like the writings on the wall, that Anissa was going to mess it up, and then they're going to be pissed at Anissa. But she pulls it out, and she gets the W for the team. So that team being her, Bear, and Johnny, and then the girls that were chipping ice were Casey, who's that, and I wrote that. Like I wrote Casey, who? And then right after I said, because like she came on the screen, I was like, oh, Casey. And I wrote, who? Question mark. And then, oh, wow, she finally said something, and she explained in quite detail the challenge that they were doing. And I'm like, well, we just watched like 4 other people.
Yeah, I know. We just watched like 8 of them. Like, we got it from here, but thanks. I was like, why did you, I guess like the editors were like, let's just cut this in. Casey hasn't said anything for 3 episodes.
So funny though. It's like, who? And then she's like, yeah. some nonsense. Like, who cares about her little? It wasn't even a confessional. It's actually her describing the challenge that we just watched.
I was like, why didn't they not put this at the beginning?
Maybe they're just like
it was needed. So bizarre.
Yeah, it was really well. I guess because she was in a later group, it wouldn't have made sense for her to be talking earlier on. But ask her something else. Like, ask her, like, oh, why did you get into the water? Like, oh man, it was too cold for me. Like, Anissa really wanted to do, I don't know, something else, but like not like describing the challenge.
Do you think she's just not good, like, in confessionals for the challenge specifically?
Okay. Like when she was talking, and we'll get to it, but like in the tribunal, it looked as though that she was given a question to ask the people in the tribunal. Anyway, we'll get to that when we get to that. It just was like, maybe you're right. Maybe she just doesn't.
I guess she just like, seems like out of her element.
But like, I love her, and everybody really likes her.
I really like her, but she just like seems like sometimes I just see like glimpses of her face, and she just seems very like out of her element. Like she just is like seems uncomfortable and like confused.
Maybe I totally jumped over a spot, but like we don't have to do the whole thing. But Wes peeing in the water, and Tori's just
which is so smart. I was like, yeah, like drink up those fluids and get peeing in that water. Like
I wouldn't care, to be honest. Like I don't care about people peeing in water. It really wouldn't bother me very much. And I'd be like, and I'm boiling warm. Like, thanks for the hot tub.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was smart of Wes, and I like that at least Tori was recognizing that she didn't think it was disgusting. Her team again? Her, Wes, and who?
Wes, Tori.
I don't even know. Oh, Jay? Was Jay? Okay,
yeah, Jay.
Oh yes, but they were actually really fast. So they actually were giving the Bananas and them a run for their money time-wise. And so I think that's why like I was kind of scared that Anissa wasn't going to get it, because the West team with Tori was decently fast. And like they keep on referencing how much Tori wants to get into a or get into the ring and take somebody out, and how much Jordan is trying to help and work to make sure that Tori gets her red skull. And like, I don't know, I'm just like, with them focusing on it so much, I feel like Tori doesn't make it to the final. Like I think she doesn't make it.
There's something like weird in the water, like this season with Tori. I've just been like, I don't really have high hopes.
I don't think her. Maybe Jordan will, but I don't think that Tori's gonna.
Jordan seems kind of like he's fading into the background a little bit this season.
Is it because it's the Banana show? Because like last season, he became a little bit more involved when Wes was taken out, and then Bananas was taken out pretty early, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
And so
Jordan just doesn't have anyone to fight.
It's true. Nobody cares.
Jordan needs somebody to like fight.
Yeah, we didn't really even talk about it, but who cares? Bailey, Kyle, and Corey. Like Kyle and Corey were just like too cold. They DQ'd. And I was like, of course they DQ'd. Like, I hate them. Not hate. I say, whenever I say hate, I just mean I just prefer not to have.
Yeah, they're just really inconsequential.
I mean, I like Kyle more than I like Corey, but I really don't care for Bailey still, even though she proved herself. Like, I can't stand it. And Corey, I just not feeling. Yeah. Kyle, I like a little bit better, but
yeah, I don't really care.
Say it again?
I don't really care.
Yeah, me neither. So what else happened? So yeah, they're the fastest team, and Bear, he's such an instigator, screaming "Losers!" and you know, people are like, he's such a sore, or what kind of winner is it? What is it called when you're
like a sore winner?
Is it a sore winner? It's only a sore loser.
Poor sport.
For
I don't know.
sport, yes. Thank you, Fanta, with the analogy, the references, whatever you want to call them. Yes, I was here for it. I was like, that's what everybody wants to say. It's like, ha ha, I'm the winner, you're the loser.
Yeah, I thought it was so funny, and he was like, "It was so easy." I love that because like he does well in challenges, and like he doesn't like he just shows up and does well.
Exactly. Like, and I guess that when he loses, he's not like, he isn't a sore loser. Like he still has like, oh whatever, like I tripped or whatever. Like it's just like
Oh.
it doesn't matter that much to him, you know? And so did I freeze?
Yeah, it's yeah, just froze for a second. Yeah, it's I don't know. It was just
Losers.
it was funny how it like got under everyone's skin and like it was very funny to me.
So the next scene was Kyle and Maddie talking, and I was like, "Oh yeah, they were like partners." And like, were they like banging, or like were they just like flirting, or just partners?
They just like flirted and made out.
Okay, they made out. But like,
That's when Kyle's stock was high. Now people don't care for it anymore.
oh, maybe him and Big T. No, nobody from the UK I think will touch Kyle. I don't think.
No,
You'd have to cross the pond.
Those girls know better than that.
So yeah, he was kind of, they're both, well, Kyle was basically trying to get Maddie on his side as to like his dislike for Ashley, and obviously with that blowout that they have, it was pretty easy to have Ashley be the target. But do you think that, you know, Kyle has any legs to stand on here with like being so annoyed by Ashley's game? Like,
No, like I think the whole thing about like everyone being like, oh my god, Ashley's game is just like so blown out of proportion. Like, I mean, yeah, she doesn't play a good game, but I was also like, everyone here, like, you've got a faction of people who are like literally hiding in the shadows every week. And then you have like Johnny and Wes, and Kyle's playing like he's playing his in-between game again.
mm-hmm.
So it's like nobody is like particularly playing like a really good game. Like it's actually a season of sloppy game.
Well, and I think it's because they don't have any control of the outcome of Purgatory. Before,
Yeah.
like how, you know, even Johnny and Wes, like how they mastermind is like knowing who's going in and orchestrating who's going in against who, and most likely what are the odds that so and so is going to be taken out, and that so and so is going to be moving forward, and that so and so is going to be running the final with them or not running the final with them. So they had a little bit more control over factors in the game. And I think that because they're taking away less control, and like you can be put in against your will, I think that that's like people are just like scrambling to like, well, I at least want to know who I'm putting in, like as opposed to just being a little bit more random.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, I just, as we mentioned before, like I really am just so confused as to why though people are so upset. Is it just like the popularity part of being put in? It's like I don't want the house to want to vote me in. Is it that like just like bruised ego? Like I don't want to be voted in. I want to choose to go in.
Yeah, I think it's bruised ego. Cause like you don't want a whole bunch of like you don't want like a whole house of people saying your name. I just like think like no matter how you slice it, it's not a good feeling. Cause you're just always like, why me?
Aww.
Like you're taking it obvious. It's like very difficult not to take it personally.
Yeah, shown by obviously Nelson last week. It was like, oh.
Yeah, when it was like, bro, you're good. Just zip.
So Nelson comes back from the hospital and Corey hugs him. I'm just like, I hate this romance. Like, even sometimes, like Nelson makes an appearance on what you call Teen Mom OG, and like I'm just like,
Yeah, I really don't care for it. Like Nelson's vocabulary consists of 16 words, and I just am not interested
Oh
in
my god!
watching
And
it.
when he was really cold, he's like, oh, I felt like my balls came up into my stomach and came out of my mouth, and I was like, I was so grossed out that I was like, I wanted to barf.
I don't care to listen to men talking about their balls shriveling up. It's just not interesting to me. Like, we get it. You have balls. They shrivel up closer to your body when you get cold. Yes, we understand that. That is grade 5 sexual education. I don't care.
Okay, disclaimer, like, no ball talk with
Talk.
none at all. Let's change the subject. So they get to their deliberation circle, and Kyle starts it, but then Maddie just takes it over and is like, boom, Ashley. And then they start going around.
Can I say, it's a very interesting drop in gravitas when Bananas isn't there and like CT is not there at the nomination ceremony. Like, and Kyle trying to lead it, I was like, oh, yawn.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't realize that was what the issue was. I was just like, wait, what? It's starting. Like, it didn't have the West lead that. I guess because he doesn't care. He doesn't necessarily want Ashley to go.
And he's possum.
Exactly.
Lest we forget, he's possum. But it was just like, you're like, oh yeah, okay, this is starting.
Yeah, it was really strange. But now I was like, why is Kyle there and Maddie? I'm like, I didn't get it. That you genius, you figured it out. Because he was in the tribunal. Wowzers. So they go around and everybody was like, they're just Jenny, first off too, said Ashley, Melissa, and like Melissa is being quite diplomatic in how she's saying, she's like, no, I like you a lot, we get along really well, but I didn't really like how you were acting, and like, and so this time my vote is for you. And I did like how she said it, and she kind of softened the blow a little bit, I found.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I guess we forgot to mention that, like, when that whole fight happened, Ashley was also like, oh yeah, like, you know, whatever, and then like you'll go back to jail or whatever.
Oh, it's because Maddie said first to Ashley something like, I'm sure you've had worse in your mouth or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is like, which was like cool, like dig, like,
yeah, which was like a low blow, because I don't know, I hate the like slut shaming shit. So I thought, like, I was like, that's interesting, like that's a really low blow. And then Ashley hits back with this like mention of like her going to jail, which Maddie told Ashley in confidence, which was like, they're just both low blows. And I was like, that's really interesting that Ashley is like the only one that's like getting in trouble for that when they were both
like, I thought it was like a burn, like, ooh, what Maddie said, like, yeah, that's rude, like, but I felt that Maddie could have said that to anybody in any circumstance, and it wasn't necessarily personalized to Ashley about a personal situation that Ashley confided in her about, that she's publicly blasting to the entire house on national television about an incident. Do you know what I mean? And so that's where I thought the difference was, that Maddie said something that was a little offside and a little rude and a little bit disrespectful, but I thought that Ashley's was an actual low blow. Like, it was actually like, hey, I'm going to take something that's really personal to you, that's happened in your regular life, you've gone to jail for, like, that's different than you saying somebody has sucked a dick. Like, you know, like, that's
interesting, because I took it as like, oh, like you're calling her a slut. That's kind of how I took it.
But
based off of like her track record or whatever. But yeah, I see what you're saying. I was like, this is just not nice.
I probably wouldn't have said it personally, but I don't think that they are at equal at all. I think that what Ashley said is a lot worse. And I was listening to another podcast and they correlated it to when Bananas and Devin were fighting and Bananas took it to the next level, like about his father. You know what I mean? And that, I mean, taking it to the next level where it becomes personal about somebody's actual life. Like what Maddie said was kind of vague, and what taken to the next level was personal, like that only she would be hurt and affected by something that she said.
That said, I really don't agree with that in regards to the whole like Devin and Bananas thing, because I think that if a lot of people were in Bananas' position that season, where like Devin was like constantly pestering him like that, people have breaking points. And I think that the way that Devin was behaving was like unacceptable. While I don't agree that like that was,
but it's why he got so much flack for it, was because of the fact that it was a low blow, even though you found it to be warranted.
Yeah. It was interesting though, because my partner has a parent that has passed away, and we were watching that together, and she was like, "Oh my God, like I'm on Banana's side."
I was on Banana's side as well, but I'm just talking about like the low blow as how it's like, I don't think that he necessarily should have gone there, but I was on his side because I understood he was at his breaking point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
But anyways, like I thought it was an interesting parallel, because it's kind of like when you take it too far to family, like I understood why Devin was so upset by him saying that, because it took something that he's going through in his real life and brought it as to be part of his strategy to get him to shut up. You know what I mean? And like, I understand why Bananas did it, and I probably would have maybe done the same, because that's probably the only thing that was going to work. But I totally understand by him being villainized for using that kind of information as something. Like, think about how much worse it would have been if Devin and Bananas were friends at some point, and Devin was confiding in Bananas about these things about his father and about how he was feeling about it, and then in an argument Bananas decides to use that as a personal attack to win an argument. It holds a little bit different weight there.
Oh, for sure, because you're like, what the hell? I trusted you. I thought we were friends.
Yeah, so I felt that it makes Ashley look like a really shitty person, and it made Maddie just look like a catty girl.
Yeah, they both didn't come out of that looking great.
Maddie did lose a few points. Hold on, I think Michelle said something about Maddie here as well. Hold on. What did Michelle say? Oh, because she was like, classic Nani is just always getting so extremely involved, and when she's not involved, she loved it. And then, hold on. Okay, maybe it was some part of our actual conversation, not part of what she wanted to say. But she was just basically saying that like she didn't mind Maddie before, but now she definitely does not like Maddie. And she felt that why was Maddie coming in and like talking, like going at Ashley when she wasn't in the room and she wasn't involved? Like, why was that happening? So she's lost with Michelle there for sure.
That was bizarre.
Yeah, that sucked. So I did feel bad for Ashley in this moment when it went to D, and D's like saying in confessional that you can't trust Ashley and that she's done with her, and then saying to Ashley's face that she's going to vote her in. Like, I was like, D, I don't know what game she's playing or how she thinks she's coming across or how she wants to come across, but like, it's not likable at all.
No,
she's not coming across as the top beast that we're rooting for. She's not coming across as the underdog. She's not coming across even as the woman scorned. She's not coming across as like a champion coming back to defend her title. Like, I don't know what she's trying to come across as other than an unlikable woman that's remotely slightly attractive.
Yeah, no, she's been very rotten, especially this episode. I mean, all of the episodes she's been quite rotten, but like this, eh. And yeah, I hated how everyone was like voting, and they were just like, yeah, like you took it a bit too far, Ashley, and like those comments, like I was like, oh, shut up, you guys have all done equal or worse. Like, just make the vote and like just shut up. Don't do this whole like.
Well, I think that they're probably getting
parade.
some prodding from like production to be like, hey, make sure you give a reason why. And there was somebody had a voiceover, I think, or it was a confessional saying like, yeah, like, wait, what was I gonna say? Did I forget my train of thought? I forgot what I was gonna say. Yeah, no, something about like Ashley being kind of like a scapegoat, like because like, oh yeah, it was that like everybody wants to have a reason to throw somebody in, like they want they look for like if you do this wrong, you say that wrong, so they're all looking for a reason to put somebody in, and so that's why you feel like nobody really cares. They've done things that are worse in the house, but like they have to give the reason why they're putting somebody in. And so this is what Ashley did. And it's like, perfect. Ashley did something so I can vote her in, or I was going to vote her in anyways, but now I have a reason to, you know?
Yeah.
Instead of saying like, I don't know.
I love the like drawn out thing. I'm just like, oh my God. It just makes me roll my eyes so much because I'm like, man, like everybody is like really like shitting on her this season. And I'm like,
but even Ashley's still in confessional. She's still like so scrappy. She's like to D, like, oh, D, you can't trust me, but you can trust your man Rogan that's like hits on every single girl in the house. And I was like, I bet you, like Rogan, that's the type of guy that would be fucking sleeping with some girl like right next to D. Like he's totally that type of guy. Or like pulls somebody in the bathroom and bangs them like while D is like looking for him in like the mansion. You know what I mean? Like
he's so that guy. And like that's the thing that D just has like a different moral high ground every episode. And it's just so, yeah, it's gross. Like, I don't care for it.
Me either. And you know, the outcome doesn't really help this cause for me. But how do you feel about Kyle running up to Ashley? Like Ashley makes kind of like a statement, like, I know I'm crying right now, but like it better not be a puzzle or it better not be a blah blah blah, because I'm gonna win, I'm gonna come back, blah blah blah.
Which I love.
That's fine.
I love that. I love being like, yeah, like I'm gonna put my name, like screw you guys. Like while she's crying, I was like clapping. I was like, I love this. But I thought it was really annoying that Kyle went up to her after and like gave her and was like, wow, I'm so proud of you, like blah blah, blah all that stuff. And I'm like,
I want to stop everybody. Like everybody was gonna be voting.
So yeah. And I was like, if you were gonna do this, say it in front of everybody, because you were being a snake too. Yeah. Like this is exactly what CT was saying about your game, like why people don't really trust you, because you're always like playing all sides. And he's just being like, okay, like just in case she comes back, let me go about this. But I was like, shut up. And I think obviously there was like part of her that knew it too. And she was just like, hey, like, yeah, whatever. But I was like, dude, like, don't do that.
Yeah, no,
say it in front of everybody or don't say it at all. Because everybody was just like throwing her to the wolves. And like, you had plenty of time to say something, but you didn't.
Yeah, exactly. Like, because he knows that he was part of the people leading the charge to like get that to happen. I mean, we can maybe play devil's advocate here, and maybe he had a change of heart while, you know, people were going around and she's starting to cry and stuff like that. So maybe he did start feeling bad. Maybe.
I don't think so. I think if he genuinely like, but Kyle is so spineless. I just think if genuinely like he felt that way, he would have been like, okay, guys, like, let's cool it on that. Let's just do the vote and like, let's finish. Because Kyle gets away with everything. And like, I just feel like if he said that, people wouldn't have been like, Kyle's next. Like they're aligned and like all of that stuff. I think he's just spineless. That really rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah, I wrote down
about that, but
So I thought it was going to be the Purgatory, but it's another hour and a half long episode. So we have them going to the club. Yes.
Yes. The
And
twist turtle or whatever it's called.
I don't remember. I didn't write
That's just my running, like that's my personal running joke. It's not funny, but every time they go to the club and every single season, I'm like, oh yeah, it's a twisted turtle. Because like one of them that they went to in like Thailand or something was called the something turtle. And that's just what I think it is in my head.
I feel like whenever you
Super
say
dumb.
turtle, I think of Cara Marie like drunk at a bar. So yes, it must be called. I can see like a neon sign that says something like that, but I don't know. But you can keep that joke running, and maybe I will get it at some point. I'll rewatch the season and be like, oh my god, there it is. So
You'll say it to yourself next week.
Sorry?
You'll say it to yourself next week. Just watch.
I'm gonna be like, kidding. Probably not. But so what I really liked was that Bananas was having kind of like a pep talk with D and not D, but Big T, and kind of talking about how much he really likes her, and that she's kind of badass, but like then she has this posh accent, and like she's probably like super small and cute, and like she's really pretty, and I like that he's kind of grooming her, and he's like, yeah, like go around and like make some deals, and she's like, okay, I'm gonna. I love that she's like taking lessons from Bananas.
Yes, that's definitely a glow up from Ashley. Ashley's a teacher that shows up to class drunk.
Fair.
You want to learn from.
Exactly. What not to do. So she goes and she talks to, I don't remember the order, but to Kayla, Jenna, and Nani. And she actually mentions the Holy Trinity. Now, do you think that it's like a thing, or that she sussed out this name, or that Johnny told them? Like, how do you think she knew about the Holy Trinity?
I think that I think that Johnny or something like probably told her. Because that's a big voting block to have in your back pocket. Even though they're not they're not really so much a powerhouse, I guess, but I think that's it is a good voting block to have for sure. I did think it was super funny though when Big T was talking to Jenna and she was like, yeah, like, was it Jenna? And like, oh yeah, like your name was being floated around. And she's like, that doesn't really make sense since most of my friends are in the tribunal. Was that Jenna or was it Nani that said that? Maybe it was Nani. Like one of them kind of like low key shut that down.
I remember it being said. It must have been Nani, because Nani would be somebody that would say most of my friends in the tribunal. Kayla wouldn't say that.
And Jenna, yeah, it was Nani that said that. And then Big T was just like, yeah, I mean, like, anyway, like some people are talking and but she's like, but she still got the deal, which is great.
It was perfect. And like she got her first lesson, and I think that by the end of it they realized what was going on, because it seemed like they're like, okay, good talk, thanks Big T, you know what I mean? Like I think that they probably got, maybe Bananas was watching the whole thing, or
I'm sure they like looked to the corner of the bar and he was like to like Big T.
Exactly. So I think that they kind of were like, okay, yeah, we're in a team together. We're not going to throw each other in. Like, whoa, team, whatever. So I liked it though. Like, I like Big T learning how to play the game. Like, even if I don't know if she's going to go home or she's going to be able to run the final or not, but like, I enjoy her presence. I enjoy her confessionals. I enjoy her looks. I enjoy that she doesn't seem to take herself too seriously. And I enjoyed her in this tribunal. The tribunal was good. It was a good tribunal. Like, who came in first? Oh, Maddie. Okay, so they chose Maddie, Tori, and
D.
Oh, right. Oh, I just want to like, So they chose those three, and Maddie comes in first, and Maddie is scared. Like, she came in, she's like, well, like, like, I want to play, but like, like, not yet. Like, I'm a gambler, but like, I don't want to gamble now. Like, I don't, not soon. Like, I was like, Jesus.
I know, like, shit, like, hide that a little better, I guess. Because, like, the thing is, like, you want to have a good poker face, because it's not for, like, this tribunal that you're interviewing for. It's, like, for the rest of them. So when you act all scared like that, you're acting scared to 3 girls in the tribunal. You're acting scared to Anissa. You're acting scared to Casey. You're acting scared to Big T. They're going to remember that next time.
And they're going to throw you in and shock you. Like, they're not going to, like, they're just going to try to get you rattled, because it seems like you can't, like, pull it together. And I love at the beginning, before they called any of these people in, like, Johnny Bananas just like, I just have one name and it starts with the letter D. Get rid of her, please. Like, please. And Anissa, she thinks she's fake as hell, and that's, I guess, what the problem is like, D is so wishy-washy and so not true to anybody, it seems, and like, she has no true allegiance, and she's ready to throw everybody under the bus. Like, I understand why people are just not into her, and like, why we're not engaging with her on the screen. It's just kind of like, she sucks. Anyway, sorry, back to Maddie. Sorry, what did Big T ask her? Yeah, she wants to sweeten the deal. Was that Tori? Oh, how badly do you want to go in? Casey's second line of the episode. How badly do you want to go in? And that's when Maddie goes down her spiral of like not wanting to go in. I was like, well, if she doesn't want to, I would throw her in, but we'll see what happens. And then Tori comes in, and Tori also showed signs of weakness here. And I was like, wow, Tori, what's going on?
That was really weird, and that's kind of going on the vein of like what we were talking about earlier, like, because Tori wants to go in, like, that has been her through line for every single episode. She wants to go in, she wants to get her red skull. So it's just like weird to me. Like, I mean, what questions did they ask her again?
They asked her, no, they only asked D something. Sorry, what was it?
Because what prompted Tori to be like, oh, like,
Big D wants to sweeten the deal with Tori and be like, do you promise that you're going to say my name? And Tori's like, I can't promise that. Like, what? Of course you can promise that. And then you get back on your promise. Like, this is the challenge. Like 100% shake on it. And I meant that when I said it, but things are changed.
That was very bizarre. She was acting like super sketchy, and then again, because she was acting sketchy, then everyone was like, why are you acting sketchy? Like, this is weird.
Why can't you like all she had to say was like, yeah, Big T, like, I'm not ready for you, like, all, like, let's work together, like, moving forward. Like, I won't say your name, you won't say my name, and if it's not a puzzle, like, I'm willing to go in right now. Like, and if you want to take it, I get it. If you want to go in, if it's something that you feel like you'd be strong or confident in, like, exactly. I don't know, make friends with the tribunal because they have your game in their hands right now. Like, say what they want to like, what they want to hear, and move on. Like, I was so shocked as like, that's the number one way to play within an alliance, or like within a game about alliances and about loyalty and stuff like that, is when somebody asks to make you a deal, you say yes. Like, let's be in a final 2. Absolutely. Like, if you don't say yes, you're sketch. Exactly. It's just it.
And what's worse, as soon as she left the tribunal, then she goes running around the house telling everybody what just happened. And I was like, you're not aligned with everybody in the house. Like, any one of those people can use that information against you at some point within the game. I was like, what are you doing? This isn't your first season. Like, why are you doing that's so bizarre? I was so weirded out by that.
I was just like the badly played tribunal. Okay, so I was like, okay, Maddie sucked at that tribunal, and maybe they just felt that they were going to be able to have more dominance in the conversation because both Big T and Casey are generally pretty new. But so like, I don't think that they expected to like have to make any deals, or like I don't, maybe they just didn't think that they thought that they would have the floor more as opposed to like really have to like be strategic. I don't know, but like they definitely were thrown off guard, and it showed, and it wasn't a good look in my opinion.
It wasn't a good look for any of them.
And then Dee comes in, and another not a good look. Like she was not good in that tribunal in my opinion. I mean, obviously she could probably feel that the tribunal wasn't really feeling her. And then they asked her, Big T has all the questions today, like, have you ever said my name? And Dee, good that she confessed, like, yes, I did. But how she did it was like gross.
Was like really scummy.
I was like, yeah.
It was, yeah.
And I was like, wow. And then Bear, he's such a good shit to server sometimes. It's like, and I heard that did you say Banana's name last week?
Oh yeah, like no, he asked that Ashley had an ally.
Yo, yeah, did Ashley have an accomplice?
Ashley have an accomplice.
Me. Yeah, me. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, so you said like bananas, and she's like, well, I shot my shot. And I was like, and then Bananas, of course, being like, well, you shot your shot and you missed. Like, are you going to try shooting again? And like, I don't remember what she said after that. I didn't even write it down. I was so irritated.
Yeah, it was just kind of like, it was like, I think she did give him her word.
Oh, yes, that's what happened.
She did give him her word that she wouldn't do it again. But I was like, you could just so obviously see, like, it was like one of those people that was like, oh, like, yes, I give you my word. But yeah, and like everyone that was sitting there was like, you're so full of it, like there's no way.
And then like when she leaves, like, Anissa, love you. I don't really love her actually.
Oh my God, I loved Anissa this episode.
Yeah, she's good. She's nice, classic Anissa, like she like stern face, like cold. Like, I forgot that she was in the tribunal though when I mentioned the two rookies in there. I guess Big T's a vet. But
no, she ain't.
But I did feel that I thought it was the best tribunal that we've had so far. I thought that it created the most drama. I felt that the questions were good, and I liked the fact that they were able to rattle them. Like, I didn't think that they should have been able to rattle them with what their questions were, but the fact that they did get under their skin so much that they all fumbled. They all fumbled hard. And so now, like, for all those people, I do not see them being able to ever say anything to them, being like, yeah, you got my word. Like, there's like zero they gained zero trust with anybody in the tribunal. It's kind of like in Big Brother, you on the head of household reign, even if they put you on the block, you still make friends with them. So if you stay, like, you can potentially work with them moving forward. You know what I mean? Like, you have to make those bonds and relationships so you don't just always become their target. But I think Dee just prefers to be a target.
Yeah, she's playing a rotten game.
So Tori, Dee, and Maddie, they all felt threatened by the tribunal, and they thought that they were power tripping. What did you think about that comment?
I thought it was dumb. I thought it was just very, like, I guess they said that just in a way of like, I felt like I couldn't think of anything to say to defend myself, and like I couldn't think on my toes, so they were power tripping. I was like, you could have, this is everybody here is playing a game, and you go in the tribunal and you have to be smart, and none of you were thinking on your toes. Yeah. So no, they weren't power tripping. And also, like, I guess who cares if they were? Like, they just won a very difficult challenge. They deserve to be there.
Well, they won a difficult challenge, and they were only asking questions that would be beneficial for them moving further along in the game.
Yeah, like, what else is a tribunal supposed to be? Like, they weren't like attacking you or anything. They were asking like very valid questions. It's like literally like for Bananas, like last week, like you voted for me. So we got to talk about that. I need to know for my game. Like Big T, same thing. Like, have you said my name? Like, I need to know where you stand.
Exactly. And because I have this power, I'm able to get these, I can ask these questions of you, and you could choose to answer them however you would like to. I would, like, you know, Big T would prefer the truth, I'm sure. But,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like, this is the responsibility of the tribunal, is to get the information that they need to help them either put you in, make that decision to put you in or not, or how they're going to work with you moving forward, moving down the line. So I think that they all were like, they just weren't prepared. They didn't go in prepared. They didn't go in with a game plan. They didn't go in being like, this is how I'm going to approach this tribunal. This is what the deals I'm going to make with this person, this person, this person. I think they were just under prepared with going to the tribunal, especially with 5 people there. So there's more people that they had to, you know, have conversations with. And I think that they were just under prepared.
Oh, for sure. 110% agree.
That's on their game. And
Yeah.
not power tripping. It's like, well, no, you just weren't up to par.
And also, like, lest we forget how Dee was acting in Tribunal. Like, come on.
So yeah, Tori doesn't want to go into Purgatory when they get down to the grounds. When she sees like what the challenge is, and the challenge to me though didn't look like a puzzle. So I felt it looked like something that Tori would have been able to do.
Oh, Tori would have smashed that.
Thank you. Fun.
Yeah, a little pun. Yeah, I think it's just like people see Purgatory and they just crap their pants. I think like she just saw like, oh, it's got symbols. It's a puzzle. I think that's literally what happened. But that challenge looked to be a very easy one.
It's very straightforward.
Very straightforward. Like, you just have to do this on your own.
She had to be methodical, like, you know what I mean? Just like go up and down and remember which symbols you've seen, and just hope that you get lucky and you pick you spin the things in the correct order. That I that variable I didn't like, that like they're not going to have the exact same pattern. And so luck did come in with like, oh, it just so happens that I got the gas mask and that's the first one that I hit. So yes, there was luck that was involved, which I didn't like, because that variable like can't be overcome.
Yeah.
Which is maybe like, you know, the same ball comes rolling out of some sort of contraption, and like they get the same things in the same order with the same makeup. So like it's completely fair that way, and there's no chance in there. But you know, I can't have it all, can I? So Ashley and Dee are going to be fighting it out in the tribunal. And like, I was really kind of annoyed how Dee was just like being all like tough, like I got this. And I was like, well, so when you could have been all tough and I got this, when it would have been cool, and I would have been standing you and I would have been like, go Dee, like take out the girl that's with your guy. Like she would have probably won me over if she went down last week.
Yeah, and then her behavior would have been justified.
Exactly. But now she didn't do that. And then she came down this week and be like, all like, you know, I'm tough. I can do it. I can win anybody, beat anybody. Like, I got this. I was like, whether you win or you don't win, like, I'm not rooting for you. And
yeah. But then like, you just see like all of that drop when like they realize what they have to do for this.
Exactly. Well, I mean, it wasn't that hard though. I didn't understand why they were both so like terrified.
Well, I mean, with Dee, like her never having seen any of the seasons of the challenge.
Yes. I was like, yay. Like I was like, in that moment for sure.
Oh yeah, and Ashley isn't on my draft, but I really wanted Ashley to win this because I was like, oh, this would just be like, mwah, so sweet for for her to take her out this way.
Loved it, especially after like she voted her into the purgatory, like Dee just like turning her back on her friend like that. Like I just needed Dee to get some comeuppings.
Yeah.
I really did. So what they had to do is, so they had to spin a wheel, and there's like 5 different tiles, and then they had in like these clay pottery things hanging from something. They had to like smash it and find the matching tile. And so this is where I'm talking about like the fact that it was random. That sucks, because like there was no standard, there's no constant that you knew that they were both going to be able to like have to run the same amount of distance. And like if somebody messed up, they messed up, but they had the same grid and the same pattern. Like anyways, so I was like kind of annoyed by the random factor. But you know, Ashley just came out of the gate pretty well. She started off strong, and then she wasn't hitting the right one. I was like, oh man, I really don't need to win, especially against Ashley. So she's gonna think that she's really good. I was like, no. And so Dee is like on fire. Like she just seems to be finding these like
tiles like crazy.
Yeah. And so at this point it's like 4 tiles, and I think Ashley found 2, and maybe Ashley found 3, and then Ashley finally Dee finds all 5, and she has to now put them in order. On the other side of them has like 5 different seasons of the challenge, and she had to put them in chronological order. And I don't know if I could have done them right then, but I probably could have figured it out like if I looked at it. But Dee, of course, hasn't seen any of these seasons, so she's not a fan of the show. So like, why is she on the show, taking the spot from an actual fan? But
well, to be fair, I guess she did say that they didn't air them in Australia, but I guess you could just watch it online.
If I was going on to like say Big Brother UK, I would have watched like quite a few Big Brother UK just so I knew what I was doing. And if I was trying to come back to win money, I would watch many episodes so I'd have an idea of what kind of challenges I'd be expected to do or whatnot. I would be taking notes. I would be knowing the relationships with people. I would be knowing like what their first seasons were, like why they had beef, who dated. Like I would have spreadsheets. Like I would be doing my homework. So
yeah, Chantel's doing work.
You be doing that. Come on.
Doing work.
You'd go into a social strategy show for $1 million blind.
No, I wouldn't. But I mean, I don't know. For a second, I just thought, I was like, oh, she just like didn't have access to it. But yeah, that's probably an excuse because we all have the internet.
You can watch on MTV.com like multiple seasons. Like she could just have looked at like the challenge wiki and see like the order of them. Yeah. Like, I don't know. Anyways, I didn't think it was an excuse that she didn't have it over there. Maybe not to have watched it from the beginning, fine, but to not have done a little bit of homework to know like some of the major like shows, like The Duel, they're all pretty significant kind of War of the Worlds type, you know, challenge thing.
Yeah.
So that's I was not impressed. And what I also wasn't impressed by was the fact that it just so happens that Dee was in the vicinity of Wes, the only person out of the entire house or group that was rooting for Dee to stay. And Wes helped her get them in order.
I hated that. I was so mad about that. I was like, no, that's not fair. Like, you don't get to go down there. And like, I know like TJ was like, hey, don't do that. But I just don't understand. I was like, yeah, like I get that you consider her an ally, but that's not a good look for you. Like, that's not a good look for you in any way, shape, or form. And it was really interesting because like Bananas even was like, what are you doing, dude?
I understand that it's beneficial for Wes to have Dee there because they do have the working history on Dee's inaugural season within the challenge. She was partnered with Wes and they got pretty far, and you know he took her under his wings and kind of taught her a little bit on how to play the game. And she's learned some of it, but some of it she's using for evil. You know, she's not using it well, anyways, the knowledge that he's given her. And so I get why he would want to keep her over Ashley. He has more control and she has a better working relationship with Dee. But I feel that the cracks already showing between Banana and
and the rest of the house. I was like, why would you torpedo potential relationships with all of these other people in the house over this one? I was like, that just like in terms of strategy, like did not make any sense to me whatsoever. I was like, that's not worth it. That's not, I was like, I just don't think that that's a horse that you want to bet on. You should have just kept your mouth shut.
Absolutely. And
I mean, it potentially, like, with how far Dee was ahead, like, would you say that Dee won solely because of Wes's help? Did Wes help her enough? Do you think? Okay.
I do, because it could have been editing, but it seemed as though Ashley caught up, at least to that. If she got, because she would have just been like, bop, 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 check.
Yeah.
And so I feel as though if she was doing her own, like, how many combinations would that have been? Like 125? Like she would have had, there's so many combinations she would have had to do to get that right. The randomness she would not have been able to just do it by trial and error. She like has Wes being like, this is first, then it's the bloodlines, then, you know, whatever the order or the tiles were. And so he was able to do trial and error with like the few little squeaks that she heard from Wes, and that allowed her to nail it down. Like, because like she said out loud what the ones that she had, you know?
Yeah, I really wish that like TJ was like, hey, like you can't do that. I wish that he was like, that's gonna like, I'm gonna like, I wish he would have like, I wish Wes would have gotten like a penalty for that, because that's like, I was like, that's not cool.
Well, now sometimes though the whole crowd has been helping people before though, like being like, no, go underneath, do it under, no, it's up at the top, like, you know what I mean? You hear them all kind of helping and help.
I did think about that because like people have helped with like puzzles, but I just really feel like in terms of like puzzle placement, like there's only so much that you can really like do, but this is like so straightforward because it's an order. Especially for someone who has no idea. Like, as you said, you're like, that is your own damn fault. You should know the answers to this question, because then it's basically like being like, oh, like, I don't know, like, I literally didn't watch any of this before I went on. Like, this is something that's like so easy. I guess it's like, it can also be like the same thing like trivia, like when they like have their trivia rounds and somebody like doesn't know the answer, and then like Bananas is like, hey, that's the capital of whatever. That's kind of how like
challenge. I don't remember which season it was, and if it was an elimination or if it was a team challenge or what it was. But remember they had to put like 28 seasons in a row, and they had to make like a ladder of like all the seasons. And like the advantage to the other side or the other people was the fact that like they had some vets on there that knew the order and the other team didn't. And like I don't know if it would have been fair if people on the sidelines were telling people the order. I don't know.
Yeah, in general, I don't agree with it. Like, even in terms of puzzles, like people trying to help people out, I don't agree with that at all. I hate it. I hate it more than anything. But especially this, I was like, oh my God, shut your ginger mouth.
I wasn't happy. I was like, Wes, just let
It's okay, my best friend's a ginger. It's okay.
Is that something you're also allowed to say? Like you can't qualify it with having a friend
that's not okay.
I know. Anyways, whatever. So stupid Wes like helped, I think significantly helped Dee win that challenge. And I thought that Ashley took it on the chin and she was like saying that she loved everybody in the house, but then she decides to leave and go off. No, what?
I love how he calls her. I love how she calls him a little bitch, because that was little bitch behavior.
Yeah.
And I love how he's like, what? Wes can never like have a comeback.
Yeah.
He's so smart. Like he can never have like, you guys seen this? Like, yeah, dude, you're a little bitch. You should have kept your mouth shut.
Yes.
You can't be helping people down there. Like, what are you doing,
Not
dude?
in that kind of way. I mean, I agree. I don't really like the helping, but they've allowed it before, so I just kind of let it be part of the game. But this was different helping. Like
It was
different.
that was like the challenge. Like that was the elimination. I mean,
That was also the equalizer. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
okay, so you
Yeah.
were doing this, you were starting that, but like that was Ashley's strength that you got assistance in Purgatory. Not in a challenge, not in a challenge like, you know, to not be put into the elimination, but like in the Purgatory. I don't know. I didn't really like that.
That's the thing. I completely agree with that, and I thought the win was very cheap, and it was just especially like a jab in the side because it was D. It's because she's playing a really shitty game, and then she just won in a really shitty way. So after that, I was pissed, and I was like, I hope that this, like, I can't wait for this to bite Wes in the ass, and I can't wait for somebody to send D in again. That's how I felt.
I was just like, I hope she doesn't think she's safe till the end now.
Oh yeah, but I think she does. I think she's like, oh, I got my red skull, so like no one's gonna throw me in again. And I hope that the person that throws her in is Tori.
Yes,
and
Tori
just to be like, remember a couple of weeks ago when like you backed out of like shaking out or like whatever? We'll have fun. See you later.
There was one confession that we didn't mention during the whole Purgatory scene, was that Rogan says, I do love D.
Yeah, I remember that. And he was like, he's like, as much as I want to be single, I'm cheering for her to like come back. And I guess I was also kind of confused about that. I'm like, so what's going on with them? Are they together?
I'm assuming that he made that confessional after he already knew that she was coming back in, and was saying that because like, well, he's gonna probably make out with her if she's in the house still.
Oh God.
I don't know, but I was like, so confusing. You're confusing me, so you must be confusing her.
Oh yeah, of course.
Did they show a preview of the next episode? I don't remember.
Yeah, they did. It was like this, like the sideways like car challenge and
a kiss with
Kayla and Bear making out.
Right.
With her boyfriend back, as it said.
Yeah.
What's that?
I said I don't remember the challenge part, but I do remember seeing just a snippet of them like actually kissing in like the corner.
Yeah, like kissing in the bathroom. And I love how like Anissa had like this confessional where she was like, yeah, and like Kayla's not having it, and like she's got a boyfriend back home. And I was like, oh, that's never stopped anybody in the history of the challenge from cheating before. But I just like, I'm like, oh, I always feel so bad for the people who are like at home and they're like reality show partner like goes away for like a couple of months and then like comes back and they're like, so I made out with a loud-mouthed British jerk off.
Huge Kayla's
and it's gonna be all over TV for all of our friends and family to see.
To Kayla's defense, he's been really persistent and
oh my God, Chantele. That is such a bad.
I don't condone. I'm a monogamous person for sure, and I don't think it would work on me. But Kayla likes the attention, and her personality, he'll break her for sure.
Kayla's personality is built for Bear, for someone like Bear. It's
exactly
built for someone like Bear.
So,
which is what is so tragic. But that's the thing that's like, so it's like, oh yeah, like Bear knows that.
Of course.
Somebody like Bear knows that, which is
like, I don't think Kayla would have cheated it, like, and gone after Bear, but because Bear knows how to break a girl like Kayla, and Kayla loves that kind of attention, and she starts, it's gonna make you start to find that person attractive. Like, if I ever want someone to be into me, like, I tell them that I had a dream about them, and then like, oh, all of a sudden they're into me. You know what I mean? Like, so the fact that he's like, I love you, like, do you fancy me? Do you think of me this way? She's gonna start thinking about him this way, and she's gonna start imagining it, and she's gonna start like, well, he's a good looking guy, like, what would it be like to kiss him? And she's going to make herself start to like him. It's just,
especially in that bunker.
Nothing on.
Especially
don't find unattractive is doing that to you. Like, a person like Kayla is going to break. That's it. That's all I got for today, though. Do you have anything else to say?
No. I've said my piece. I was very frustrated at many parts of this episode, but I'm glad that Aneesa is like peeking her head and she's like saying some things and she's making moves, and I really hope that she goes far.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I just don't know when, this is actually what Michelle said. She was like, but Aneesa didn't go, like, how is Aneesa going to get her red skull? Like, what is it, just like going to be like one-on-one combat type thing that she's hopefully in the tribunal for? Or like, she's like,
and also like she's great at puzzles. Like, I think Aneesa is gonna, like, she used to be like an elimination queen. I think Aneesa can get her red skull no problem.
Cool.
I think she can get it no problem. I don't think she's gonna have any.
So was Ashley mine or yours?
Ashley was yours, baby.
Write down more. Or no, you had CT. I had. So we're kind of going back and forth. So the next girl is going to be yours, probably.
Yeah, just like process of elimination there.
Do you have D? Who has D? Do we not even have her on our lists?
I have D. I have Tori, D, Maddie, Casey, Nani, Big T.
And Jen. Well, not Jen.
And not amazing Jen anymore.
Yeah, your team is starting to look the decline of your team. The women.
It's not looking great per se, but I'm happy with my boys. Oh my gosh, there's a big ass fly in here.
Yeah, the boys seem to be doing well. Like, Bear was in that tribunal. Yeah, no, your boys are doing quite good. Well, they're all still here. Yeah, I mean, Ashley and Dee were both our number 2 girl picks, which I think is interesting. So, you know, that was an equal matchup in, like, you know, how we were seeing things as we were picking people, which is interesting. Ashley should have won that one, though, I think.
Oh, yeah, for sure. She should have won that. And if Wes kept his stupid little mouth shut, she would have. But I think that he's going to experience the aftermath, and I can't wait.
I'm here for it. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Make sure you subscribe right down here. Ring that bell so you can get notified every week when we leave a new episode. And like this episode if you liked what we had to say or didn't, or if you stand D. Like, I might erase the comment if you stand D. But I'm sure you're a lovely person. This is just the character that you play on this TV show that we were commenting on. I'm sure in real life you're different. So please don't take anything that we had to say to heart if you ever were to hear this or if someone told you about this. We're not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. This is just our observations, our opinions of the character that we're seeing on this television show. So just want to have that as a disclaimer, just because we don't seem to vibe with what's being put out there and what's being edited and shown to us, and we're making our own assumptions. We know that it doesn't necessarily show the whole picture and who you are as a whole person, so we do not want to actually completely offend anybody. So just take everything that we say with a grain of salt. We're just talking, and our opinions mean absolutely nothing to anybody but us. So exactly. So we'll see you next week. Hope you guys have a great week. Ciao.